I'm just going to record this because I probably want to play it back later. When we connected online, I thought, you know, you would be good people to come in here and update us about what's happening at the Ealing Cinema site. So just a little bit of information that, you know, St. George is the property. Yuri, are you hearing me? No? St. George are the property developers who have been rebuilding the Ealing Cinema site at New Broadway in Ealing, opposite the Ealing Town Hall. In case anyone hasn't seen it recently, the hoardings have come down and we can see the beautiful frontage of the building. What is it, Yuri? Yuri? No? All right, he's going to come and tell me. Am I the only one?
No. I think the screen.
I can't do anything
Yeah,
about
I don't think you're sharing the screen.
Typical, isn't it?
Shall I introduce Barney and I and just give everyone a little
go ahead.
On who we. Thanks, Colin. Great. So yeah, so my name's Jack Gillingham, asset manager at St. George, which is basically just a fancy name for a leasing specialist. Barney, to my right-hand side, also works parallel with me on Filmworks. As you can see, he's got a few less hairs, but he's got a few more years' experience. So yeah, we are the two guys that have been running Filmworks from a commercial property perspective over the past year or two. So yeah, I mean, look, I don't know how much everybody's aware of who St. George are. We're a premium residential developer focused predominantly within London. This is a St. George project. St. George is an operating company of the wider Berkeley Group. And we own within the Ealing of the Ealing Borough. We've got Dickens Yard across the road, Filmworks obviously, and then our separate opco has Southall Riverside over in Southall. So yeah, so we're quite busy in and amongst the Ealing locality. So yeah, I mean, and this is by far the most exciting projects I think we've got on from a commercial perspective. So yeah.
So, well, before I ask you the big burning question, I mean, how did St. George get involved? What this cinema site has been under construction for what, since 2000 and since when? Since 2000 and oh gosh, help me! I had
2008.
Since 2008, as far back as that. How?
Yeah. So I mean, the history of this is that
you weren't involved from the start, were you?
Yeah, sure. Sorry. So yeah, it was originally an Empire cinema. Empire vacated in 2008 following the grant of planning permission for a 16-screen cinema. Absolutely gargantuan project. So yeah, various conditions were discharged over the following year, and works did start on site in 2009. However, they didn't ever progress to any construction phase. It was demolition and site preparation. Further amendments to the development were then approved in 2010 and in 2011. However, no further work then took place. Ealing Council then jumped in and therefore acquired the site and the adjacent land under a CPO, with the chosen joint venture partner of Land Securities being chosen. Land Securities secured the outline consent in July 2014, with detailed consent for their scheme being granted in March 2015. However, they chose not to implement any of the planning permission and instead bring the site to sale, which is where St. George stepped in. We bought the site of Land Securities in August 2016, and by December that year, December 2016, we'd already started on site with the site clearance, getting ready for starting the substructure works. The substructure works then finally commenced in early 2018. To where we are now, with the first residential completions being handed over in January next year, with the final residential completions being handed over in Q4 next year as well. I'm sure everyone's been down there recently, but yeah, if you have walked past it, the facade is finally on show, which is an absolute marvel to look at. The big white listed frontage, and I think it really shows how far the site's come over the past kind of 10 years at least. So yeah, we're all incredibly excited.
it's probably worth noting as well that Jack mentioned it originally had permission for 16-screen cinema. That's obviously been reduced now down to an 8-screen cinema, which is much more in line with what most cinema operators would actually want to trade from. I don't think I know any cinemas with 16 screens.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us where these screens are? Because when leader of Ealing Council was showing us the plans, he seemed to suggest that the screens weren't at the front of the site; they were closer to the back. Where?
That's correct.
Yeah.
So I'll just explain briefly. I mean, without plan, it's not as easy. But there's going to be 2 main entrances into Filmworks. One is off New Broadway, which is where the old cinema was, which is the old listed frontage, which you can see now. And the other is off Bond Street. These 2 entrances lead to a central square. And at the back of that central square, there'll be an entrance to Picture House Cinema at that point. That's a ground floor entrance, and then it will go up to first floor level, where there'll be 8 screens up on that first floor. And those screens kind of span across from the middle of the square all the way across to Bond Street.
And am I right that there are some shops, some retail space, some community space there?
Yeah, exactly. There's the exact number of shops is still to be confirmed, because it depends on the occupier demand over the next couple of months, as we can divide it up as we kind of see fit. But there's probably going to be about 10 shops, or probably less shops. It's more likely to be restaurants, potentially a bar, a studio gym operator, some sort of potential competitive socialising, which is maybe crazy golf or ping pong or climbing walls, that sort of thing. And then, yeah, you're right, some sort of community exhibition gallery space as well.
Mm-hmm.
So how connected will it be with Dickens Yard? Is it the similar sort of businesses?
No, I mean, I think as Barney said, with the nature of the development being anchored by cinema, I think there's going to be far more of a focus on dining and F&B. So yeah, I think our strategy is for Filmworks is to kind of keep Dickens Yard as a retail centre, retail wellbeing, local amenity centre, with then the restaurants going in around the Picture House over the road.
Yeah, so we think it's going to be very complementary to Dickens Yard. So yeah, like leisure and entertainment district in Filmworks and community high street in Dickens Yard.
Because we waited a long time for the shops to open at Dickens Yard. Do you think the same thing will happen at Filmworks?
No, I think we're much more confident about Filmworks. We've got a number of interested parties at the moment, which we're in detailed discussions with, and hopefully come the beginning of next year, we'll be in a position to start announcing some of those names. Mm-hmm. And then it's just 10 sites in total to let, so we'll hopefully have kind of 2 or 3 of those done kind of over the next couple of months, and then we expect the following few months the remaining sites to follow. And we're not due to open Filmworks until Q4 2021, so we're still a year away from opening. So we've still got a bit of time on our side there. All
right. I mean, do we know what films will be out at that time? Do we know if anybody's planning a day, film release that we can look forward to?
It might be the James Bond, which is due out, which has been delayed to spring. You never know; that might get delayed to next autumn. So it could be the launch of the new James Bond film. But
I think it might be that. But sadly, I think Barney and I've looked at the release schedule for next year, and yeah, it looks like a terrible year for film, unfortunately. So maybe they use this time to show some retro classics, a Scarface or a Clockwork Orange, perhaps. But I don't think there's going to be a great deal throughout the middle of next year to be seen, unfortunately.
I think there's a new Mission Impossible film towards the end of next year, so we might be in line with that. But yeah, at the moment, it's hard to say because COVID-19 seems to be causing lots of delays from the film releases. Mm-hmm.
But I mean, we don't have any cinemas in Ealing whatsoever. It's taken a long time. We really waited on this, but it seems to be more than a cinema now. I mean, does anybody want to jump in and talk about what they're expecting from the cinema side? apparently we can't, from what Jack and Barney are saying, we will not get to see any films at the site until maybe the beginning of 2022. Does that?
No, we're targeting the build program has been delayed slightly because of COVID. I think it's struggled to find something that hasn't been affected by COVID this year.
Yeah.
But the build program has been affected by a couple of months. But on current program, we're still handing over the space to Picture House in January next year, with as we mentioned a grand opening planned for Q4 2021. So fingers crossed. November is what we're targeting. November, you should go and watch a film there.
Yeah, October, November.
Where is the big screen going for the football? For us to look at football outdoors.
So this is we can't say too much at the moment, but I think it's something we've learned from Dickens. So for Filmworks, we're looking at doing a bunch of activation, meanwhile uses, really kind of providing space for the local Ealing community to come and watch sports and to enjoy the public realm and the outside space that we provide. So. I can't confirm right now, but we are working on some fairly special bits in the public realm for the next couple of years. Which pay attention to our social media. We'll publish some more information on that when we can. But it's definitely something we're looking to do, of course, especially for football.
Yes. Well, I see Cassandra's asking who is the cinema provider, but I think that was Picture House, and that's arranging a new provider. Is that the plan?
No, it's still Picture House. They're very much still very keen, and they're gearing up to be on site at the end of January, as we mentioned. So yeah, no, it's still Picture House, and they'll be a great operator to have in there. Yeah, agreed.
Amazing. I just wanted to ask as well, with COVID and all the the closure of businesses and the retail outlets, because it's really quiet around the new area that you've built, and whilst there are restaurants and things there, they don't look like they're thriving. How is the cinema complex and everything there going to complement what is already in Ealing, because there's already a lot of sort of restaurants and things like that in Ealing? What's going to make this different?
I feel like in Ealing, there's a lot of restaurants there at the moment, but there's not too much leisure to go alongside that, i.e. the cinema, or another competitive socialising act, as we mentioned, in a crazy golf or something along those lines. So something to really draw people there where they can go and eat and do another activity. So that will therefore make the place a lot more busy than it has been previously.
Yeah, I think evening trade as well, with the inclusion of the cinema and all the F&B, the restaurants and leisure that we're targeting. We've undertaken studies in and around Ealing before, and the one thing that seems to come out, amongst others, of what people want commercially, seems to be an evening trade. Seems to be, somewhere where people can go and hang out in the evening. And I think, the cinema is a perfect anchor for this. And I think what it does as well is it's going to kind of change the pitch in Ealing as well. A lot of people always comment and say, "Oh, we don't know where Dickens Yard is. We never see it. It's it's hard to find." But I think with the opening of Picture House, all of a sudden it's going to bring people further down that end of the new Broadway, and I think it's going to completely sort of revolutionise the centre of town. But yeah, I think that to be quite honest, Barney said it's the leisure element that we are extremely confident about and excited about as well.
Well, we have 3 people asking for bowling.
We're certainly looking at bowling. We're looking at bowling. The difficulty is, as I'm sure you're aware, it's a relatively small site to fit 10 restaurants in. But as Barney said, we're not being prescriptive about the number of occupiers. I think we're trying to work with people, and if a bowling operator is interested, then we will look to divide and carve up units to kind of suit their ideal target floor space. But it's definitely something we're speaking to operators about. Yeah.
And I was just thinking, Ealing Cinema, so close by, so much history in the area. Are you planning to maybe name parts of the site after different films? Like this is the Carry On cinema. This is the Doctor Who cinema. Is there any way to bring that history in?
Yes, as you'll see when it's all revealed in well, due course, I mean very imminently. But you know, for example, one of the residential blocks is called Bogart House. So you know, we've definitely incorporated the cinematic heritage of the site into how we've named the places, into the naming strategy for sure.
And a lot of the branding and signage is a play on that kind of film history and heritage as well. So it'd very much be about that. And obviously the name of the site, there's no hiding the film from Filmworks.
That's right. We have Cassandra's asking, will there be any incentives for locals to visit the complex? So just not just the people living there, for people close by.
I mean, not from St George. That's fairly tricky. But in terms of the commercial offering, I mean, everybody that we're speaking to, we're kind of saying, look, by all means, look, you can come and take space, but you know, we want you to offer resident discount, you know, local Ealing discounts. You know, and some of the names we're speaking to are not the big traditional casual dining groups that have traditionally gone to Ealing. You know, we're talking small operators, niche independent traders. You know, all of which really buy into that community, you know, holistic approach to the scheme. So yeah, we hope so. And we, fingers crossed, can deliver some more details on that shortly. But yeah.
All right. Well, how will we keep in touch? You said to follow on social media with Barclay Group. How should we keep in touch with news about Ealing Cinema?
So it's the Dickens Yard Instagram, that's the one over the road, and then we've got the Filmworks Instagram as well, which I believe will be going live in the next couple of weeks. So as soon as I have details, I can share with you, Carleen, and hopefully you can pass on to other people. But I think the other thing we wanted to add as well is that if you are a local business owner that's looking for restaurant space, leisure space, anything, you know, by all means, please get with us. I don't know, Colleen, if you can share our details. But you know, also around the hoarding around the site, we've now got our agents' details up with details of the opportunities. So you know, if you do want to get in touch, then by all means, please, we'd be happy to have a conversation.
All right, thank you very much. And anybody who wants to see all the discussion about Ealing Cinema, the hashtag Ealing Cinema on Twitter, we keep the updates coming over there. Thank you so much, Jack and Barney, for taking time out to update us on where what is. And yeah, it seems a little bit closer now that we can head down to Ealing Cinema and watch a film. So
Yeah.
if we don't have any more questions, any more comments about the site, about this section of the day, I'll just say, have a good evening, Jack and Barney, and we'll we might come down and see you down there for the opening at some point.
Please do. Well, we're down most weeks, so feel free to get in touch, of course. But yeah, brilliant. Thank you for having us, guys.
All right. Have a good day then. Bye bye.
Cheers. Thanks. Bye bye.